Yeah, we have long discussion and lots of presentations at committee today, and fortunate that we had them because there's a lot of information to digest. So, as your viewers know, this has been a long saga for the town of Bracebridge from when we first started talking about this to getting to this point. Fowler's has been down doing work at the site, getting ready for a general contractor to come in. And when we went to tender with this earlier in 2021, we were hopeful that we'd see some numbers come back that reflected what our budget was. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So we've had to make some changes and some adjustments. The great thing that I can say is that changes to the facility that we've made through an optimization process doesn't affect the programming. We are reducing square footage in some cases and making some other adjustments to heights and windows and things like that. But apart from some minor adjustments to the field house programming, and a few tweaks in the library, we think we're really maintaining the integrity of the project going forward, but also saving a few dollars. And then, of course, we hand that over to our finance people to tell us how we can pay for it all.
And you're right, lengthy discussion, I think about 2 hours there of discussing different bits and pieces of this. And again, it seemed, despite one, it was approved by council. Again, just to note that it still needs to be ratified on the 22nd for your council meeting, but seems like council's pretty pleased with it moving forward. I just want to talk a bit about some of the changes that were brought forward, especially with the field house. There was also discussion about moving the walking track down to the main floor to kind of save money as well. So can you kind of break down some of those changes? I know this isn't going to change the overall building, but just so people are aware of, where these small changes lie.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is reducing the square footage to some degree in the field house and the library. But one of the big changes we made was taking the walking track out of the second floor of the field house and bringing it down to ground level, which allows for a different roof line and less structural steel. What we found when we went to market is what everyone is going to find as they go to market with these large projects is that there's been an incredible impact from COVID through supply chains and availability. And there's a lot of people looking to build right now, and that is driving prices up. Just like buying groceries, we're seeing a significant amount of inflation. We're seeing that in projects like this. So, we've had to make those adjustments to make this project work, to make it better, but at the same time, as I mentioned, preserve as much as we can of the original program and the services we wanted to bring to the people in the town of Bracebridge. So I'm thankful that, we found $8 million of savings in this optimization process. And that still left us with a much higher bill than we'd anticipated. But we think through a combination of various financial measures and pushing back a few things on our capital program past 2025, we can deliver this project for the community, and it will still be the game changer that we expect it to be.
Part of the discussion I noticed here, Graydon, was maybe a little bit of hesitancy on one councillor's part of blazing ahead, the idea at least of blazing ahead with something as massive as this project. However, the the people that you've contracted to help with this process, they really suggested that this is a good time to get these agreements in place because of what you mentioned, pricing of supplies, getting this project moving forward. And I know there was a lot of support for, despite the fact that this is a massive price tag, moving forward now is a better option than waiting any longer and having these discussions still, right?
There's just a huge amount of instability out there in the marketplace. And the other thing there's a huge amount of is dollars being invested. So there were many communities that received provincial and federal funding to go ahead with projects, and others that are going ahead with them anyways, just in Ontario. And there are only so many builders of projects on this scale, only so many subs. And these days, only so much material to get your hands on and get booked for your project. The other thing we've seen, on a global perspective is the US passed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. All this has an impact on availability and what the next several years is going to look like in the construction market, where inflation has been far higher than it has been for the everyday goods that we might buy for our household. So we had to work with the low bidder, take some of their advice, take the advice of our project managers, take the advice of our architects, take the advice of our team at the town of Bracebridge, in our recreation and treasury departments and our library CAO, and put all that together and make a decision on when the right time to proceed is. And it's certainly a reasonable question to ask, well, is today the right time with costs being what they are? But we think that there's a very reasonable chance costs will be a lot higher in the future, and that if we don't build the entire facility now, it could well be, stalled for years or longer. So it's not exactly what we expected in terms of the pricing. I'm not going to say we weren't surprised and even shocked. But the one thing we've done is work our very hardest since we got those prices in with all hands on deck to ensure that we can move forward with this project. I hope council will feel the same way next week. I'm quite certain that they will, that this is such an important thing for the people in Bracebridge and surrounding communities in Muskoka, frankly, that we need to get it done. We can get it done. And still have some safety cushion on the financial side. And that's really because we planned for over a decade to build this facility and been very prudent fiscal managers of our money.
So let's talk about the price tag here, Graydon. I think that's what people are curious about too. What are we looking at in terms of the cost now?
Well, if you look at the entire cost of the project, we're up in the $75 million range. Of course, we did receive provincial funding to help supplement that with 73% of the arena and field house projected cost. So that was over $16 million. And so very appreciative that the province could come to the table with those dollars, which still leaves over $50 million to deal with at the town level. But again, through a combination of things that we've been preparing for a very long time, the dividend that we get from Lakeland, being the majority owner in that company, and we may see some mild tax increases phased in over the next few years, but we've always said we wanted to bring this project online without a big tax shock to the people of Bracebridge, and we can still do that.
And the most, I guess, in some people's minds, the most exciting thing is the actual seeing of the bones of the structure coming together. I understand that's going to be with this contractor, if this moves forward, that's going to be fairly soon. In fact, looking at possibly late spring to early summer here with actual bones starting to show up.
Yeah, one of the great things about having Fowler doing all the site work and preparation through the fall was it was getting it ready for a contractor to come in and get to work in fairly short order. We knew that not a lot was going to happen through the winter months. I mean, it is Muskoka, and it's not the best time to kind of be in the ground and building. But once we get to spring, now that we've got a contractor selected and a lot of preparation work can be done, we can get to work right away with them, and they can start going up as opposed to out and doing all this preparatory work. So it'll get very exciting very quickly. Our schedule maybe a little bit different than we'd anticipated. We're probably into spring 2024 for a completion date. Get all the bugs worked out over the summer and be ready for that fall 2024 season for the hockey players and of course for the book readers and the enjoyers of the library there. And this library will be different than any library Muskoka has ever seen in terms of what it can do and the people it will serve, hopefully sooner than that.